Welcome to another Kyle High Club podcast episode. And as per usual, I've got a very, very special guest with me today by the name of Hanu De Jong. You might know him from bands like The Narrow, Fire at Will, Not My Dog. Welcome, Hanu. I'm so excited.
Thanks, Kyle. Thanks for having me, man.
No, this is so surreal for me, and there's a part of me I always wanted to share this story with you or anyone in the band. Like, it's so weird because I have got a story, a life and death story that's connected to the Narrow.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
So after school, right? I'm just gonna jump into this. Like, I've been waiting my whole life for this. But
Do it.
anyway, after school, I worked abroad in America, did the whole gap year thing, worked at a water park and everything like that. Fun vibes. 18-year-old in a new country, and eventually you get homesick. And you listen to all your favorite bands from South Africa, Folk of Polisikar, and I made this whole entire South African playlist on my iPod that I just bought with my first paycheck. So excited. And one day, I was working at the water park and I didn't feel well. I didn't feel very good at all. And I wanted to go home. And they said, okay, cool, you can go home. And I took the bus back then because, the employee housing was a little bit far away from the water park. And I was waiting for this bus and I was blaring uh, the Travelers album in my head. And, just listening to that on my brand new Skull Candy headphones. And I was waiting at this bus stop, and this bus never came, and I'm not feeling well. And as I walk away from this bus stop, um, a bus came and hit that bus stop exactly where I was sitting.
Whoa.
And forever in my whole entire life, that album has been imprinted in my head because, like, the
Wow.
adrenaline took over and I
Yeah.
ran home, and that album was just playing like on repeat in my
Oh,
ears as I
wow.
was running home with adrenaline pumping through my veins. And every single time I listen to that album again, I
Yeah.
get that adrenaline just pumping through my
Crazy.
veins. Yeah,
Ah,
dude,
that's
it's
crazy.
yeah, that album is
Yo,
forever imprinted in my head, like a life and death
man.
situation.
Ah, that's crazy. And they totally smashed that bus stop. Completely took it
Dude,
out.
completely. And I looked back
Mm.
and I'm like, that if it was like it
That
was
was you.
5 seconds. Five
Mm.
seconds where I walked away and
Mm.
and I stood there and I was thinking, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. And I
Mm.
just
Mm.
ran. I just ran all the I don't know, it was probably like 10
Yeah.
kilometers to the employee housing, but I just ran all the
Wow.
way. It didn't stop.
Wow. That's
It's probably the
crazy.
most I've ran in my life.
That's crazy. Stuff like that would happen, and then you like a year later or something, when you retell it, people will go, "Oh my god, that's crazy! Do you realize what happened there?" But you realized it straight away. You were like, "Yup, I just dodged a massive truck-sized bullet." That's
but
insane.
but the funny thing is, which I found, like, there's two senses of memory.
Yeah.
Of course, this was very traumatic, and it
Hmm.
was life or death, whatever. But I always found smell and sound
Mm.
can trigger the craziest memories. Like, some memories can
Yep.
be like forgotten or like back of your head, and then it can
Yep.
just take one song or one certain
Mm.
little sound or a smell that can trigger a memory that you didn't
Mm.
even remember you have.
Yeah. There's research on that. They actually reckon it's your core memories are created when between 1 and 10 or 1 and 7 or something like that, when
Yeah.
you're 1 years old to 7 years old or so. And most of that smell, taste, sound, it's not so much emotion or visual. It's very much the other senses. And so it also that you then save it in a very deep space, in a very subconscious space, in a space that's part of your core memory and your core personality. So even now, when you hear something, and you take it in, and you experience something emotional, it gets embedded right really deep. And that's what makes music so special. That's what makes food so special. That's what makes experiencing things special, more than just a little flat memory of something you saw, or something that felt. It's interesting.
But don't you think it's weird? Like, I always found it so interesting. Your brain decides what to forget over a certain period of time.
Mm,
Like, I can tell you a cell phone number right now, and you probably won't forget. You probably forget that cell phone number
straight away.
instantly.
Yeah,
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 and
yeah.
I can tell you a story like I did right now, and you remember the
Mm,
story.
mm,
It's like your brain selects what to remember, what not to remember. And I'm trying to
mm,
think, like, imagine what childhood traumatic events as a kid you remember as traumatic, where it was probably just something normal and mundane, because your brain just decides,
mm,
I'm going to forget that.
mm.
But we can't remember these things. So certain people don't like spiders. Like, something happened when they were little and there was a spider, but meanwhile it's just
Yeah,
like a random spider crossing
yeah,
on the floor. It's
yeah,
quite interesting
mm,
how our brains
mm.
decide what we remember, what
Yeah.
we don't remember.
Yeah, they reckon a lot's got to do with adrenaline. Of course, your fight or flight kicks in, or
Mm,
you in that stores it because oh my hell, something's going to kill me. I better store this memory to remember it later. And so that's why people love drinking coffee when they're studying or something like that, where your adrenals get pumped. You can take more in. So that's something that helps you your memory a bit more. Um, but also, if you're fully engaged, if you're emotionally engaged,
yeah,
cognitively
emotionally.
engaged, so left and right hemispheres are engaged, body is sort of attentive, everything, your whole being is engaged, and you're following this emotionally, you will take it and you'll remember it forever.
But don't
Yeah,
you think
there's
that's
another
what make?
story. There's
Sorry.
another story I want to tell you about the Narrows music, and this one's um, it has a positive ending, but it's sort of say in the vein as yours, and I'll make it quick. This
Yeah,
guy
go
came to
for
me.
it.
This guy came to me about 5 months ago. We were playing a festival in South Africa, and he came to me afterwards. He was very like this huge guy, Afrikaans dude, and he came to me and he's like, "Hey man, I'm very nervous about this. I've got a story to tell you." And I'm like, "Oh man, come on, sit down, let's have a beer." And he
Yeah,
said about 10 years ago, so he was studying with his buddies and they were listening to the Narrow, and he had another friend he loved Lonely Lonely, and he was just chucking it on the radio, and he put the CD on repeat in the car. And they were driving along, and then they got into a massive accident with this song on the car. Of course, they were annoyed with this guy playing the song on repeat, but he's having a good time. So they thought, let's just give it to him until we
it's
get
a
home, which is
banger,
just a few,
guys.
yeah, there's a few Ks. We'll let him have it. And they were enjoying it. And then all of a sudden, I don't know, they got an accident and the car rolled, and they all got stuck in the car, badly
No
injured,
way.
all of them, legs broken, everything. It was crazy stuff, bad injuries. The whole car sort of caved in on them, and they were stuck in this metal cage. That the song didn't stop playing.
Oh
It
no.
kept going. And I'm talking, you're in your 21, 22, you put full blast. Like, and this thing's
Yeah.
got speakers too, and
Yeah.
nothing, that just kept playing. And he said they were waiting in that car for hours with that song on repeat, stuck in there. And I was like,
No
oh
way.
my goodness, dude, that is horrible. He said, yeah. He said from that day he couldn't even hear the word Dinero or Lowly, or even when that song started, he would just turn it off. He would have a nauseous feeling. It was just insane.
Was it
And,
on
it's
a
like
Sunday morning?
you could probably like three o'clock in the morning or something. It's
Imagine
like
on a
that
Sunday
movie. It's
morning.
like that. Yeah, it's like that movie Clockwork Orange, where the guy were forced to listen to, like, I don't know, Beethoven or
Oh,
something, and that would
Mozart.
trigger.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah, it was a
Beethoven.
Mozart.
I
It was
think
one of the
Mozart or
two.
Beethoven. It was Ludwig.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, it was Ludwig.
Anyway, and it would trigger some sort of visceral reaction, and he would never be able to do evil again. It's the same as this. Now, but he came to me afterwards because he said he listened to our set, and he waited for Lonely to come up, and he was standing there with Lonely just with tears in his eyes, just feeling he turned it into something positive. And yeah, it was cool. He approached me later and he said, "Look, man, he waited 10 years or whatever to tell
Finally
me
get
this, but
that
he also."
closure.
But
Yeah,
he also got closure that night.
yeah.
He could get it out of his system, and he actually boogied a bit. And he was like, you know what, it's good now. It's over. I forgive myself for that time. I forgive everyone. It's sort of like it was closure. So it was positive,
It's
but hectic.
yeah, dude. But also, there's also I saw a pie graph, or
Yeah,
a circle graph with two circles intertwining, where you've got like something written in by both circles and where they meet in the middle, you
yeah,
know. So I saw one on the left hand side. It says music, you like,
Mm.
and then on the other side, music I like, and right in the middle, like music I used to like. And I found that really interesting because breakups can
Yeah.
also do that for you, you know.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, no, it definitely triggers stuff. I went through recently. I mean, this is it's. We could probably talk about this because it's over here in New Zealand. It's actually men's health, mental health month. So there's a
Oh
lot of
wow,
talk around this, which is quite cool.
yeah, let's
So
go for it.
so about 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago, I was diagnosed with severe depression,
Okay.
and this is not something. Well, I knew I was a bit low and I was going through a bit of a thing, but I didn't think it was that bad. But anyway, so I got diagnosed, and so it I worked through therapies and therapists and things like that. And we realized that I was actually severely depressed from like my twenties, early twenties, and something sort of went off the ledge there that just forced me into this negative spiral. Didn't stop until recently, and but what's interesting talking about the music is I would listen to stuff from back then, the Corns and the Rage Against the Machines, and obviously Radiohead and a few of the chiller songs, and that it would trigger a deep sadness and a nostalgia and like a longing and a wanting and a that. So, but that I felt was me. It was like, this is me. This
Yeah,
is my special place. This is
this
my
is
this
my
sadness that I'm
identity.
feeling. This is my identity. This sadness I'm feeling and this longing and this this is I'm an artist and this is my fuel and this is special to
Mm.
me. And it took a long time for me to realize, like, no, that's just the depression, buddy. That's just you uh, you build very negative emotional connotations to some of the
But
music
how
that
do
you were
you
listening to.
find out from how did you make that switch from
Yeah,
this is me, I'm edgy and
yeah,
I'm an artist, to
yeah.
knowing, oh shit, this is depression. How do you do that?
uh well, you first have to sort of make the connection. Just Well, for me, it was just a realization. First thing is just noticing that, okay, listen, if I'm listening to, what's a nice thing? Anything from Soundgarden, from
Oh nice,
I
yeah.
would go really like, oh yeah,
Uncle
the
Chris.
world is sad and everyone, the world is a dark, deep place, and like I've got to write poetry about it. To go, hey, wait, hey, that's okay. You can enjoy this. You can enjoy
Mm,
the music. You can boogie. You can smile. You can be upbeat about this. You don't have to go into that place, and that's the first step. Just to see it coming, to see that trigger. I'm not saying the
yeah,
music ever triggered me into negative spirals or low days, but it definitely is a micro trigger for most people.
yeah,
It's a comfortable place for most people with depression. It's like, I will just go into my dark place and listen to my dark music, and I will just be there, and because it's
yeah. If
comfortable
you
and it's
need me, I'll
cushy.
be in my room.
Yes, I'll be there, and we carry that with us. So I just
Yeah,
realized that, not that I still cherish the not cherries, but I say hi to the black dog every now and then.
you're
I say
thankful
hello.
for where you came from.
That's right. Yeah, it's more a thankful thing, a
Yeah,
gratitude than a welcome.
yeah,
But yeah, seeing it and then letting it live where it needs to live, which is not right in front of your face, which is just on the side, just for a moment, and then we move on. That
mm,
was for me the saving grace. Realizing it's not
gotcha.
me to the core; it's the black dog that walks with me.
Yeah, I think I went through the same journey. You know, going from thinking I started tracing my music evolution, like recently, like how my listening to music has changed
Yeah,
and what I resonated with. And I always peop, people Eminem was popular at the time, and people think, oh, Eminem is cool and everything, but I resonated with him about the topics he talked about, like how he hates his wife, and his
yeah,
mom was never there for him, and all of those type of things which I resonated
yeah,
with. And from there on out, I started listening to a lot of, like you say, the Corns and the Slipknots and
mm,
everything like that. And then I went like super emo, like Midwest emo, brand new, Glassjaw and all of those
yeah,
type of guys, and also
yeah,
Radiohead. And it's always been you think you're resonating to it as if
Mm.
um you can relate to a point how that's how you're feeling, but it's kind of like after a
Mm.
while I started learning that it's kind of your subconscious trying to speak to you and say, listen, you're feeling these things and
Yeah.
you need to know what it is you're feeling. It's almost like what you talked about earlier. You're a kid and you've got smells and you've got all of the senses and you don't know what to do with it. And I think that coming of age as a teenager is trying to find your identity, where to latch onto.
Yeah.
And you need to start realizing I'm
Mm.
escaping into the music because I don't want to live with myself.
Yeah, yeah, it is an escape, but it's a comfortable place. Now,
Yeah.
if you think about the way we resonate and we vibrate, so
Mm.
a higher vibration would be let's a simple example. A high vibration would be something like happy music, good vibes on the beach, listening to some doof doof stuff, just singing along, just dancing. That's a high vibration,
Yeah.
right? And you would attract that. So everywhere you walk, you would hear only good vibes. You would hear. I'm happy. You hear all this sort of stuff, and you'll
Yeah.
eat food and you'll taste it better, and you'll speak happy words. So your vibration would be high, and you could maintain that if you want to. If your vibration's low, you'll attract that again. You'll want to listen to Slipknot and to Marilyn Manson and to the stuff
Mm.
that's got that lower vibration, that low oomph, and you would also resonate that. You'll speak uh, sarcastically. Your humor will be darker. Your mannerism will be a bit more haunched. You'll wear darker clothes. You'll vibrate in that frequency, but you'll also attract it. And
Mm.
you've got to realize that you have to lift yourself out of that. Look, you can wallow there and stay there. It's not going to be good for you. You have to at
Mm.
some stage realize that all of this negativity and all this angst that those artists were putting out there, you're taking it on,
Yeah.
and you need to then unpack it and take care of it and realize where it is in your life, and then say thank you and goodbye, and then move on to a different frequency. Which because we all have to move on to different frequencies. That's why I love all kinds of music because it depends on your
Yeah.
mood for the day. You listen to that, but I don't want to
Exactly.
wallow in a certain frequency for too long. I don't want to wallow in the lower frequencies for too long. It's good to
Yeah.
go there and have a bit of a dig around and sort of feel it and wallow a bit, but then move on. Get out of that. Get into listen to some weekend or
Yeah.
something that lifts your frequency a little bit.
But how
And
did you? So
yeah,
when you started realizing, okay, I have this. This is
yeah,
something that's real, and I need to
yeah,
attend to it. This is
yeah,
something that needs my attention. What
yeah.
what did you change in your life
Hmm.
in order to live with it and acknowledge it and move away from it?
Yeah, I look
What was that trigger?
for for me, and I think everyone's different, but I think fundamentally, um, for me, it was the little things. So, and this sounds like a cliche, but mate, if you're in a dark place and you can't even lift your hand in the morning to turn off the alarm, it physically hurts, or
Mm.
you really can't be bothered to breathe for that day. Is then doing a little, setting a little target for that day is the coolest thing you can do for your body and for your soul. So what I did was I started to just in my day, and I mean, I was still working and doing my thing. So in my day, I would do 15-minute, two 15-minute breaks, and just
Okay.
go for those 15 minutes. I'm going to do something for myself. Now, there's four things you can do. And this is me just. I'm not preaching. I'm just going to say what stuff worked for me. But I
Yeah.
had four things. I had movement, um, nourishment, hydration, and stimulation. So any one of those
Wow.
four things, just put it in that 15 minutes. Even if it's just 15 minutes, even if it's 5 minutes, even if it's like a minute, just do one of those four things or all four. Because if you can do all four in a day, every day of your life, you will flourish. Like you will be,
Eventually, you're gonna end up in a good place.
yeah,
Eventually.
of course. Well, and it's not ending up. It's just moving.
Yeah.
It's moving. It's lifting your happiness level, your comfort level.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as an end point for any of this sort of stuff. It is just a
Yeah.
walking through it. But movement, something like go and walk, or do a bit of an exercise or something like that, or just dance or something. Then nourishment, just have good food, man. Stay away from all this processed stuff. Just have some good
Yeah.
fruit and good veggies and good. Then hydrate. Just have like 2 or 3 liters of water, or even just get some hydrated electrolytes or something if you don't like water. And then
Yeah.
stimulate is something where you engage your mind, engage your soul. Go listen to a good podcast or learn something new. Especially learning something new is fantastic for your mental well-being, even if
Yeah,
it's just learning something on TikTok. Like if you go and learn a new recipe or or a
yeah.
new dance or something new that just engages your growth of your
Or
nervous
if it's
system.
something you're already interested in, let's say you're a
Yeah.
painter learning a new
Yes.
medium, or if
Yeah.
you're a musician trying a new instrument or a new song, just
Something,
something you're
it's
already
definitely a
interested in.
creative, yeah, it's definitely just your creative learning experience would be something stimulating. And for me even now when I'm going through a low time, especially traveling to South Africa and back, your body gets really tired with the jet lag and that sort of stuff. I have to put these things in place, because I could look, it looks, if I had a bad week, I'm like, oh my god, I was so uninspired and lazy this week, and I felt so like I did nothing, and I feel so guilty about this week. I go, okay, well, what were one of those? What did you not do? You did not do movement. You did not nourish. You did not hydrate. You did not stimulate your
Yeah.
brain. So you can expect to feel the way you are. Um, and but that was my journey, and it still is. But other than that, just knowing that you do have this, and all of us have it to a certain extent, or the opportunity to be depressed. You gotta realize that it's fragile. Your mental well being is fragile if you ignore it.
I've got a similar journey, and mine's like also kind of the same but different.
Mm.
I call them mini milestones. Mini milestones in my day.
Yeah.
And I see every week as a brand new year. Like every new year, you've got New Year's resolutions and see how you can
Yeah.
stick to them. So I
Mm.
try to do them in a week is my mini new year, and my mini milestones are in my day.
Yeah.
So I have a journal to keep track. Sometimes I just write if I don't feel like writing something, but I just would write a percentage,
Mm.
how I'm feeling that day. Am I at 40% or 80%?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or and then I can at the end of the week I can see, oh, I had a lot of 40% days, or oh wow, this was a good week.
Yeah.
But the mini milestones comes with my whiteboard. So
Yeah.
there's a sense of you need to wipe it out. It can't be permanent, you know?
Yes.
You need to
Yeah.
wipe it out.
Yeah.
And my whiteboard is kind of like my manifestation board.
Yeah.
What I want to manifest, I put on this board because I write it on there because once it's been
Mm.
manifested, I need to wipe it out.
Mm.
And if I see something that's been on that board for quite some time, because a whiteboard is a temporary board,
Yeah.
if it's there for quite some time, I need to work on it. Wow,
Yeah.
dude, this thing has been there for actually
Yeah.
2 to 3 weeks. You need to do
Yeah.
something about it.
Or just unpack it. Say, why is it still there? Or change
Exactly.
it slightly so that it still makes sense for where you are now. Yeah, that's
I'm struggling
fantastic,
to
man. I
wipe
need a
this thing
whiteboard.
off. No,
I need a
it's
whiteboard.
it's so great because, like I said,
Mm.
like what you're doing with your little, milestones throughout
Yeah.
your day, I do it the same way because I need to feel. After all, I became obsessed with it. I need to be able to
Yeah.
wipe these things off
Yeah.
just to feel better.
Yeah. Look, and I tell you what, at my lowest, and most people, even not even at their lowest, don't know what to put on that board.
Mm,
You grind, you work 12 hours a day, and you feed your family, and you look after your people, and it's virtuous to work this hard. And then all of a sudden, you have someone says, "Here's a whiteboard. Put some stuff on there that you want to have in your life," and people will just stare at the board. They'll go, "I want money," or "I want a raise," or
yeah,
okay, maybe maybe even a little bit better. I want my kids to be happy. I want my kids to have a good education. I want my wife to be happy. I want my wife to give me more attention or whatever. So, and you go, okay, hang on. This is other people's stuff, and this is what other people tells you to do. What do you want to do with that money? What do you want to do once your wife gives you more attention? Once your kids are happy? What do you want to
yeah,
do? Put those stuff. Put the personal stuff. Like, okay, cool. I want to have I want to have regular bowel movements for the rest of the week. Cool. Put it on there.
yeah.
At least it's something for yourself.
I want a
Like
four
just put.
o'clock appointment every single day with that toilet.
Yes, that's. I tell you what, that does a lot for your mental well-being. It's fantastic.
Exactly.
So,
Nothing like a good
and but
squeeze.
yeah, but if you're in a low place, you don't even want to put stuff on there. Why should I? Why but it's once you get some of these little things, you can put it on there and you can wipe them off, like you say. That's when you start to see real growth and real change in your life. And not to say that, oh, all of a sudden, in 2 years, whatever, now I'm happy. Yay, I've made it, I'm happy. Because
Mm,
there's no such thing as an end destination with this sort of stuff. You can't say, I'm happy. Are you happy? I'm going to ask you now. Are you happy? Dude,
yeah.
there's no such thing as happiness. Like, okay, there
No.
is, but let me explain how I see it. Happiness is your baseline. So if you're not in a good place, you're low. Your baseline is under the floor. Like you're in a dark place. You're low. Like, I mean, don't even want to put stuff on your whiteboard. You're low. Now you lift that comfort level a bit better. You've got your vibrations a bit higher. You start to feel a little bit more happy. Now, ask me yesterday if I'm low. Ask me today. Today I'll be happy. So the change between the low day and the little bit better day is happiness, and
Yeah.
we call that joy. So you will, if you can lift your baseline a little bit, every now and then, you experience happiness and joy. So the change, humans only experience change. We only experience the contrast. So if everything stays the same, I can't really say if I'm happy or not. But if it changes to a bit more comfort, oh, I'm happy. Now you feel the difference. It's the same as the way that we gauge our success. We look at other people, go, look, that guy's successful. Why don't I have it? Now, if there
But
was
what
nobody on the
is
planet,
success?
yes, if there was nobody on the planet, the only way I would gauge my success is if I had actually a bit more food today than yesterday. That would be
Exactly.
success. So, because I'm gauging yesterday to today. And that's what I mean with happiness. Like, happiness is just the level of comfort change from discomfort to comfort, or more comfort. And so you can't say one day, "Are you happy?" Yes, I'm happy. Dude, you're
Mm,
complacent. That's what you are.
yeah.
Happiness is
You're
a is a
comfortable.
constant is a constant change. It's a constant change from less comfortable yesterday, a little bit lower yesterday, to a bit better today, and tomorrow might be a bit lower again. But my level of that gauge, or that measurement, is higher than what it was when I was depressed 7 years ago. 6 years ago, I would be happy if I had
But
a,
listen, this might
a weekend off. Now I'm happy if I can do the whole day fishing. You
or
know,
a six pack of beer,
yeah, yeah. Although, don't give me any beer at this stage, dude. My body can't take the alcohol
Yeah.
anymore.
Dude, I feel like I would be such a cheap date now, seriously.
Mm. Yeah.
But this might be controversial, but I feel so thankful for experiencing and being able to have identified my depression and my lows. Once
Mm.
you are able to acknowledge you are depressed, you are also able to acknowledge I need to work on this.
Yeah.
And where the controversialness comes from is I am thankful for my depression
Yeah.
because that is my ultimate motivation to get to know myself. Okay, when I'm depressed,
Mm.
what do I need? Like you
Mm.
need that exercise. You need that hydration. Not a lot of people know that.
No.
Not a lot of people have acknowledged that. They're blissfully unaware of who they
Yeah.
are as a human being and what they need in
Yeah.
order to,
Yeah.
successfully get through a day. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and firmly believe, no growth can take place in comfort. It is all
Exactly.
of this discomfort and all of this anxiety and,
Yeah.
feelings that I have felt when I'm at my lowest that motivated me to just keep pushing and getting to
Mm.
know who I am in order to get out of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is where
Yeah.
that growth comes from. And that is also where that little whiteboard comes from. I'm not going to put in, oh, I want a Maserati or anything like that.
Mm.
Have have I made my bed this morning?
Mm.
Have I
Mm.
actually successfully gave my 100% at my job today? Did I
Yeah.
look after myself? Did I shower properly? Did I brush my teeth?
Yeah. Was I
These
kind to
little things,
myself?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Look, and you touched on something very important. They always say depression is looking back and anxiety is looking forward. Like I'll always be anxious about stuff that might happen tomorrow, and I'm always going to feel depressed about the stuff I didn't do or did do in the past. And you saying thank you to your past self, and you being grateful to your past self for the learnings, is the key to living through your depression. Because if you always go, you bastard, Hanu, why did
you
you
piece
do
of
this and this and this?
shit.
You're so useless, and you've wasted 20 years of your life through this. No, you go
Yeah,
and you say to yourself, thank you for this.
yeah,
Thanks, old body. Thanks, old emotion. Thanks, old love. Whatever. Thank you for doing that. We're moving on. and at least you get solace over that, because otherwise you'll just become like most people my generation, sour, sour and
Grumpy
moany
old men.
and sape, and
Get
get on the
off my
drugs and get on
property.
the booze. Yeah. Yeah. So,
No,
yeah, it's very important, man. You get closure with that sort of stuff, and loving yourself and being kind to yourself because you went through this is massive.
but depression is just as important as anger and happiness and all of
Yeah.
these emotions. You can't
Yeah.
exclude one emotion and just feel one thing the whole entire time.
Of course
Everybody's
not.
so obsessed. I want to be happy. I want to be happy. I want to be happy. But if
Mm.
you can experience, like see it as a bicycle race, right?
Yeah.
Life as a bicycle race. If you know, ah, I'm gonna be depressed, or I am depressed right now, I'm going downhill.
Yeah.
That's not when you slow down. That's when you give yourself more momentum. Because when you're going up and when you're happy, you've got enough
Mm.
momentum to push yourself over that hill, and you know
Mm.
depression is gonna come again. Everything is a
Yeah.
season. You
Yeah.
just need to prepare yourself for the winter.
100%. That's exactly it. And like you say, the problem with when you're going downhill is, or when you're in a low place, you don't have the energy to get yourself out of it.
Yeah.
So finding the things that do give you energy and do that, and nudges you along, or having a rhythm or something, some sort of trick up your sleeve. For me, it's usually rest. Rest a bit more.
Mm.
Give yourself. Don't go. Okay, well, I'm depressed now. I'm going to go running. Like, uh, maybe it'll help for some people, but for me, uh,
Just put on a really sad playlist and go for a run.
that's maybe for some people. For some people, they get themselves so low that they get tired of themselves being low, and then they get out of it. Like, and for to be
Yeah.
honest, for most people, that is the way to go. They'll go through like a drinking binge for like they'll hurt
Binge. Yeah.
themselves and others enough that they can sort of be better which is not healthy. But there's other ways of doing that. Other people gym themselves into spasms, and then they feel better for the rest of the month. um, I'm not saying any of these are healthy or whatever, but they might work for you. um, for me, it's taking a
But
good sleeping earlier,
you
getting up
earlier talked
earlier.
about that's um sorry to interrupt you.
All
I
good.
just thought about a little spark right now. Earlier when you mentioned about, your cognitive body, your mind, body and soul and all of those things that you do.
Mm.
Don't you think as a musician playing music is so important because you kind of like trigger all of those senses all at once,
Mm.
your emotional attachment to something, a
Yeah.
physical activity, you're creating something, you're making a memory, and
Yeah.
by that's why I think
Yeah.
music is such a beautiful thing because you trigger all of those senses all at
Yeah.
once.
Yeah, I think if we're lucky enough to have a bit of a talent or a bit of an interest in music, it's a special kind of gift. It's a flow state, and some athletes get it when they're in their flow state, when they know exactly what they're doing. It's sort of a automatic thing they're doing, and they're fully engaged, they're fully focused. Everyone tells them who they are. They tell everyone else who they are, and they're in the flow state. Add some actual vibration music to that mix, emotive stimulation, you're on the next level. So I
Yeah.
get on stage, and I've got 7,000 8,000 people yelling at me my words, who I am, what they're feeling, how they're feeling about it. I've got the band that's telling me, I'm Hanu from the Narrow, you're that guy, you're taking us on this journey. I am telling people what to do. I'm telling them how to feel. I'm feeling my own emotions while I'm doing it. It's a massive come together of purpose, of flow, of emotion, and to be honest, that's why musicians don't stop, because that's the biggest high you can ever have, of the whole
Yeah.
universe telling you who you are, and you telling the universe who you are. And it's a massive gift, and it's very powerful. Now you got to be careful with that, because you do too much of that in the wrong direction, you end up like people like Chris Cornell, or Chester Bennington, or Kurt
Yeah.
Cobain, or
All of the
any of
greats.
these, where it becomes such a echo chamber that you segregate yourself from the world. and you no longer want to function. You just lost. You're completely
In the
lost.
infamous words of Uncle Ben, with great power comes great responsibility.
Yes, it was Ben, eh? Yeah,
Yeah, Uncle
that's
Ben.
right. That's right. I mean, and we're emotional beings, and the more you go down that rabbit hole of making music for yourself and for others, the more it amplifies, and you buy into it. You become that entity, and it's
And
it's
all of
very
those
very
people in that
interesting.
crowd has like got stories like me and that other guy.
Yeah,
Everybody in that person has got a emotional attachment to something you've made.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Look, if you're lucky enough to get to that level where more than a couple hundred people listen to your music, or
Yeah.
us where it's like 22 years, and if you count Not My Dog, it's maybe over 30 years worth of music that's out there, that people have used in their lives, and them telling you who you are, and you measuring that and and pushing it back to them is very powerful. What happened to us in this, I'm just going to go on a segue just to tell you what was healthy
Go
for
for it.
me is, in 2005 we were signed by a subsidiary of Universal Studios in LA, Sam Records, and they were going to take us on this 10-year journey, recording and touring with some of the bigger bands. We stayed with the Lincoln Park, and we stayed with, I hung out with the guys from Deftones, and the guys from, went to the Hoobastank
Oh
drummer's
wow.
wedding, and it was just a massive. It was great. I'm just name
Damn,
dropping, yeah,
dude.
but it was
Keep
great.
going.
It was like it was months of us just being sold this dream, and did some showcases and everything went well. Came back to South Africa, and then 2006 there was murmurs of the recession going to hit, and the big record labels didn't want to have a bar of a new South African group, five piece, coming over and touring. They
Oh
didn't want to put the
no.
money in because they knew that something's going to happen with the housing market and it's going to crash.
Oh
And we got,
no.
you know, free music on the web back then. You got the everyone pirating and that. So they were just like, hold fire, hold fire, hold fire. I came to New Zealand and hung out here for a bit, with my girlfriend back then, and then everything fell flat after 2 years of us working through lawyers and the record label over there. They just said, look, we're not interested because the recession's going to hit. And then the next year the recession hit and everything fell flat. And what happened then was I stayed in New Zealand, and my music career went into a weekend warrior mode where I would be a musician for 3-4 months of the year, and the rest of the year I would do software, and I'd do little music projects, and you know just normal stuff, human stuff, if you call it human, normal.
Yeah.
But it was a blessing for me because,
Regular, average, everyday human being guy.
yeah, sure. I mean, just the grind a little bit,
Yeah.
but the 3 months of the year I could be the rock star, and I could be the full time musician. I think if I was a musician full time, I would have not made it. I speak to some like Sean Valgemoot from Saturn Gas, Seether, um, and he went through. He's the same age as me, and they sort of made it a year or two before we almost made it. And he went through massive drug addictions and alcohol and all sorts of stuff, and still a challenge for him up to this day, because he had to perform 6 days of the year, of the week.
Yeah.
He had to get on stage, and he had to be that guy 6 nights of the week, for years. And I think it would have destroyed me. I think if I was a full time musician touring the States or the world or whatever, I would have ended up
You
in
needed
a
to
loony bin.
take that break to fall in love with it again.
That's right. And it's not a massive break. I'm talking about, every now and then I get inspired and I go into my little music area, and I make a few tunes, and then disengage again. But for me, if I was a full time musician, the way I was the first 5 years or so for the Narrow, now I'm in my 40s, and I think I would have destroyed myself.
But I
So,
found like with certain art forms, not only just music especially, because music is basically my religion, but for all forms of art, like certain art forms which I revisit, like I
mm,
like Dada and Fauvism and all kinds of little artists like that. I like Jackson Pollock and, a lot of artists that I used to love as a kid. and I haven't touched it, or little bands I listened to as a kid and younger, and giving it that
Yeah.
break because you over listen to it, you stimulate yourself in that world. I used to be obsessed with Salvador Dali at a point, and then I kind of like didn't give notice to it, and then experiencing it again for the first time in years or months,
Mm.
listening or
Mm.
seeing these art again,
Yeah.
it's kind of like you reignited that flame that you used to enjoy.
Yeah, yeah. It's true. It's true. It's like with anything, the light and shade. The one can't exist without the other one. You can't always stare at the Mona Lisa. You got to go. You got to see it. Even you're going to see it once in your life, and you experience the power of it. A lot like music. If you listen to death metal 24/7, you're just
Mm.
going to want to listen to mm, even darker metal because you need to experience the you need to experience the light and shade. You need to
I will
experience the
wear black
darkness.
until I find something darker.
Darker, yeah. So yeah, and that's it. That's the way it is with inspiration, with art, with anything in life. If you step away from it for a little bit more, so it gets so you can experience the change of it, the
So,
contrast of it versus everything else, then it becomes fresh and new again.
so when you said hold fire now
Mm.
earlier,
Yeah.
does that have anything to do with the band name Fire at Will?
No, fire. I had really cool names for that band, but they, because it's always decision by committee, we took the most boring name out of all the names we
No.
had, and I can't remember the cool names we had, but we had really cool names. Something with fire. We decided, oh, we're going to do something with fire, and at the end it was Fire at Will. But luckily it's a name that sort of it's common enough that it sticks.
Yeah, yeah.
But
When you
yeah,
just
no,
said it
that
right
was a
now,
fun
it's
band.
like when you just said it right now, hold fire, and you're like, oh shit, okay, cool, I can't do this anymore. Right? You know what? Fuck this, Fire at Will. I'm gonna start my own band.
Yeah. No, no. By the time I started Fire at Will, I was over that. I was over the whole disappointment of the LA thing not working out. By then, we were, I think, two albums already done by the Narrow. So we didn't go to the States in 2006. We did we did. Oh, what did we do then? Oh, we did You Don't Get to Quit. Then we did
Yeah,
the Crocodiles album, and then we did some other EPs, and then we went. Oh God, I got to actually go and check what we did. But by the time I started my Fire at Will, I was already in a different path with the Narrow, where it was comfortable. Where I'd go and tour South Africa twice a year, and tour here and there with the Narrow, and then um, I didn't hold any grudges really. It still hurts if I think about it. Like, oh my God, we could have made it big. We could have toured the world. I missed out on so much adventure and so much money and blah 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 and fame and da da da. But I put it in a place where I'm actually quite happy the way it worked out. I'm actually quite happy the way it can still keep going because we tour once or twice a year, and the rest of the year we could all chill and focus on our families and just have normal picket fence lives.
but I think
you know,
from what you told about taking that break and then just experiencing that again. I think from fans, and I speak for myself as well, the fact
yeah,
that you don't get to see the Narrow or Not My Dog play that often
yeah,
kind of makes it so exhilarating when you guys do come to South Africa and play. It's like,
yeah,
yes, Hanu's
yeah,
back.
yeah,
That
yeah.
that also makes it from the fan perspective also just so magical because it's not,
Mm.
I mean, all of the bands that play here regularly eventually it's like, oh well, I'm not going to go to an Norfolk Police car show. I saw them like 3 4
Yeah,
months ago or 3 weeks
yeah,
ago, whatever. But that
yeah,
little spark knowing
yeah,
that you can't have it anytime you want,
yeah.
that makes it so much
Oh,
more special.
it's been our saving grace because the thing is, a guy like Francois is a very dear friend, and he talks about this openly. He has to reinvent himself every couple of years. A new project here, a new thing here, new collab with this artist or that. He has to keep making it fresh for his fans and for the audience, and
Yeah.
he can do it. He does it naturally. He does it. It doesn't exhaust him. He loves it. He gets on. Next thing he boxes, then he runs, then he plays rugby. Then
Yeah.
he's just an amazing
Yeah,
guy
it's
for that.
fun.
It's fun for him. He loves it.
Yeah.
But for us, it's been cool. We didn't have to do that. We could just write really good songs, and if we put it out, we put it out. If we want to play it live, we play it live. Otherwise, we'll just do a tour and do all the old songs, and people will still boogie. So it's been nice for us actually.
So, me and you have got a I've got a common interest, right?
Yep.
When you said, I loved it when you said it, and I would like to hear your perspective on it, our reality and control over it. I would love to hear your thoughts on this topic.
Man, I don't know. I'm gonna piss off a lot of of my fans.
Don't
Now I'll
worry,
keep it fluffy.
no one will hear
Uh,
this. I'm
Nobody
just
listens to this.
no, yeah,
Not like
exactly.
what are we 40 minutes down? Nah, nobody listens to 40 minutes of podcasts.
No one listens to this
Um,
podcast.
yeah, look, it's I'm same as you. I question everything, and I love to go down the rabbit hole of who we are, where we are in this universe, and how we make our own not destiny, how we shape our own experiences. How we think about something too much and then it happens, or we fear something too much
Mm.
and there you go, it happened. Or
Oh, no, yeah.
you know what, the world's dealt me a bad card. And like, no, dude,
There it
probably,
goes again.
yeah. Look, man, you did this to yourself. Sorry, you know. So for me, there's a lot of work out there and a lot of things, and I downloaded the CIA's documents the other day of the Gateway Project, which is fantastic. This is something they did
Mm.
over the 40s, 50s, 60s, and they've only now declassified it. And it's all about anything from transcendental meditation to to remote viewing, to anything like that, but also about things like, if you have pain in your body and you concentrate on that bit and you think of the number 5515, the pain actually goes away.
What?
Actual research that proves this stuff. It's
What?
insane. Yeah,
That's
yeah. So anyone
ridiculous.
out there, you can go and get it on the CIA's website. All this declassified stuff. The Gateway Project is fantastic.
We're now
Um,
entering the cheat codes with Hanu
yes,
segment.
yes, that's right. That's right. So there's a lot of cheat codes around that, and it's got a lot to do with your vibe attracts your tribe, or your vibe
Yeah,
attracts your thing. So like we spoke about earlier, like if you listen to a lot of good vibe music, you put a lot of good energy, positive energy into your day will end up pretty good. Like, and it's about you putting that energy out and then receiving it back. So there's a
it's
lot of,
science.
yeah, it's definitely science. Like if you
Every action has
um
got an equal and opposite reaction.
yeah, you talk to someone who's low, and you give them a lot of happiness, not advice, just happiness, happy vibes. You'll see them immediately move, shift a little bit out of that. Give that to them
Yeah,
for a week, and they'll be completely cured. Like it's just the way that the universe works. These are the rules. Like if you put out a certain vibration, you will receive a certain vibration back, and you can distill that down to objectives or goals or purpose. You can
yeah,
say to yourself, and the biggest challenge here is to actually, once you figured this out, where you say, okay, well, look, I want a certain life. What does that look like? Because if you start putting that out there and you start asking for that and you start believing it's happening emotionally and with your left brain, um, it'll start to come. So you got to be careful, because you got to paint a very good picture of what you want. Like, you got to be sure. You ask most people my age, most dudes my age, like we said earlier, write something on that whiteboard, or visualize a life for yourself in 5 years from now. They can't. It'll be like, I want to make more money. Okay, to do what? Find the
great.
thing, and once you found that thing,
Cool, man.
once you found yeah, cool, man. Once you found that thing, you've made a visceral, or you've made an emotional connection with what you want, with and an intellectual connection with what you want. You believe it can happen, but you also feel it already. Every little decision you make, every little vibration you make every day, it slowly moves there, slowly moves there. Before you know it, you're past it already, and you already got more than what you visualized 5 or 10 years ago. And all these self-help books and all these gurus out there and whatever, they preach the same thing. You put a goal out there and you believe it's going to happen, and it will happen. But you put little things in your path all the way there. So for me, I mean, we can talk about this for ages because this is stuff I really am interested in.
Yeah,
But
I
it's
love this.
it verges on woo woo at some stages where you can do things like like meditate on certain things that you want, and like write it on a piece of paper and then burn that sort of piece of paper while you
Oh
still
no.
meditate on it, stuff like that, and
Oh, go
see how
watch
quickly it
the
happens for you.
what's that movie that took the world by storm with where that got everybody to have visualization boards. Uh,
Oh, I don't know what
yeah,
the
there's this movie that came out and everybody had vision boards all of a sudden.
oh, is it
Ugh,
what the is it the
it's
secret or
got
something?
The Secret. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The secret's very true. I haven't watched that movie, but I know what it's about, and yeah, it's pretty much
Yeah.
it. And so there's a lot around that, but in broad strokes, it's really about finding gives you joy, and what do you want your life to look like in next year, next week, 10 years from now. And once you've visualized that, it will happen. But you've got to figure out first. You can't just grind. Like we're raised. Most of us are raised Christian, which means die sweet van jou aangesig sal jou brood verdien. Like the more you suffer,
Mm-hmm.
the better it is, the more virtuous it is, the more people go, oh my God, look at him, he's suffering. And you talk to any Afrikaner or South African, to be honest, we love to moan, because if you say, oh man, it doesn't help to moan, like, oh, life is tough, but we keep on going. Like immediately everyone's like, I've got respect for that guy because he eats cement pills. Like he works hard. Like I've got
Yeah. I
respect
hate
for him.
it. I hate it so much when you enter a conversation with someone and the conversation hasn't even started yet. You're literally saying hello, hi,
Yeah.
how are you? Fuck my
Yeah.
foot, dude.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk to you. I'm sorry.
Because it's
I'm
virtuous.
sorry.
We were taught. Yeah, exactly. We were taught, the harder you work, the better it is for your family. And people go,
Yeah,
wow, my dad worked hard and he
this
killed
guy.
himself for his family. I've got respect for that. Dude, okay. You know, did you achieve the stuff you wanted to achieve? No, you did not.
No,
You still worked your ass off
because you fuck my foot.
because you didn't know
You
what you want to achieve. Like you ask
Yeah.
anyone, like, why do you want to make money? I want to have money so I can buy things. Why do you want to buy things? I want to buy things so
What do you
that I
want to
can,
buy?
what do you? And at the end, it all distills down to the why, all the way down until you go to why do you want to work 50 hours a day? Because I want to make money. Why do you make money? I want to buy things. Why do you want to buy things? Because I want to go on trips and I want to drive fancy cars and I want to. Okay, so why do you want to drive fancy cars? Because I want to feel good about myself. Okay, why do you want to feel good about yourself? Because I want to experience joy and fulfillment. Okay, so you want to work 15 hours to experience joy and fulfillment. That's the core. Okay,
That's
how can you
stupid.
experience how can you experience joy and fulfillment without working 15 hours? Oh,
Yeah.
I can work 2 days a week, but then go painting on the beach if you're lucky enough to live near the ocean. Okay, cool.
Or
So
spend
now you're
time with
working,
your children,
yeah, or spend
basically.
time with your children, or spend time with whoever your loved ones, whatever, or go play rugby or whatever you want to do. But you don't have to work 15 hours to experience the joy. So this sort of these are the things that people don't think about. They don't think about why. The why is everything
But yeah, I mean, you said it was a cliche, and cliches for a reason.
because it's
And
true.
yeah, it's stupid to say immediately feel stupid saying enjoy the little things, but and this brings me back. I don't want to keep hammering on this, but after living with depression
Mm,
and experiencing what lows are, you know, the little things become that happiness, that joy.
yeah.
Being able to go sit outside and
Yes.
just not feel what you're feeling and just look in and when last have I looked at the clouds, or
Yeah.
when last have I
Mm,
just sat and not looked at my phone and just chilled somewhere
yeah.
and just
Yep.
taking life. This
And
happened to me today.
yeah, tell me.
Sorry, this happened to me today. I walked to the shops and there was this girl just standing there looking just super sad, and I
Mm,
literally just smiled at her. It took like a couple of muscles in my face, and I just
yep.
smiled at her. Something
Mm,
that doesn't take anything away from me. And she smiled back, and I could see her whole entire demeanor change. But people don't even
Yep.
smile at each other because I think like, yeah, I'm my
Yeah.
own thing. I'm doing whatever. But
Yeah.
that brought just enough. It's like a hug. Everybody's getting the same thing at exactly the
Yeah.
same time. I immediately
Yeah.
felt better for changing someone else's life like that immediately
Exactly.
after that.
But that's what I mean. That's what I mean by your vibe attracts your tribe. What you did was you had positive vibrations going on in your body, and you just shared it with her, and now she's going to share it with someone else. So this amplifies, and there's a story. A little. I don't know if you heard the story about the fisherman standing on the beach, and then somebody asks him. You know what? I'll tell it because if somebody needs to hear this, they'll hear
Yeah,
it from
just
me
tell
then.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. So oh, by the way, we go to Fiji and some of these islands quite often, just to tell you. But let's say this is on Fiji. So because I think
Okay.
I heard the story
Where they
like this
make
guy was
the
standing.
expensive water.
No, it's it's for not for expensive for me because we just go there. Anyway, jealous much. So
Yee
this
yee.
guy was standing there, an old Fijian dude. No, not old. Let's say he's young. I'm gonna make this my own story. So he's standing there. He's fishing, and he's fishing. He's catching one fish after the other, like nice snappers and kawai and whatever. And he's cutting. And a tourist, an older gentleman, a businessman, walks up to him and he's like, "Hey, so you catch fish often?" He's like, "Yeah, every day I come and stand here and catch a few fish for my family." He's like, "Wow, that's amazing. You catch a lot?" "Yeah, a lot." He's like, "Okay, I tell you what you should do is you get a few of your mates, you guys start catching more fish, go and sell this fish, buy yourself a little boat, go out and catch more fish. Then what you do with that fish, you sell it at the market, buy yourself a bigger boat, get more people in, go out with trawlers and go get all the fish out here, man. Just go catch fish, a lot of fish. Then you get more trawlers, you get a whole fleet of them. Get that fleet, go with the fleet to Australia, to New Zealand, whatever, and start
Wow.
fishing massive. Go get a whole fleet of these things and make massive money. And then one day, when you're 75, 70, 78, you can retire and then you can come back to the spot and just fish again.
Wow.
You know?
Wow, it's something I'm already doing right now.
Yeah. So it's like, no, guy, I'm in my 20s. I'm already retired fishing. Like, so,
I'm
and that,
yeah.
that story changed my life because I was grinding. The band's going to be the biggest thing ever. I'm making money with my software. I've got a studio. I've got so much ambition about making it in life. And I didn't really classify or stipulate what making it is for me. And for me, to be honest, is to have free time, to be able to be bored, to be able to just be creative, to just take a breath and go, what am I going to do today? I'll put a few things on my whiteboard and I'll do them today. That is
Yeah,
that is success. And most people
exactly.
go, well, I'll do that when I'm retired. Yeah, when you're 60, when you well, in South Africa is when you never retire, but let's say 70,
When
you
it's
retire.
never.
Yeah, when it's never. When you retire, you're like, cool. Now I've got a little AC and Hermanus, and my back's gone. I can't see anymore. I can't really. What am I going to do? Oh, I'll maybe play golf once a week. That's it. So now you've missed
Yeah.
out on all this adventure when your body was still very capable, and you had all this energy and all this love around you from your family and everyone. No, I had to sit at work at the office working 7 hours or seven
Yeah.
days a week, because one day I'll be able to do all this stuff. Just do it now, man. Just do it now. Put things in place. Just find out what's the stuff that gives you joy. Put it in place and start doing them, even if it's just once a year or once every few months, or if you're lucky enough, once a week or once a day. Do the things that
And
give you
also
joy.
think to add to this, don't feel guilty for needing to rest because that's
Dude,
just as important.
that's the main trigger for my depression. Is the guilt. I'm guilty because I work too hard. I'm guilty because I'm not
Yeah.
working enough to make money. Like it's always just guilt. I'm not. I'm feel guilty because I'm spending too much time with my family. I have to make money for my family. Oh, I'm guilty because I'm spending too much time at the office because I have to spend time with my family. Just just be kind to yourself. Like if you're working, work hard. If you're playing with your kids, play with your kids. Don't feel guilty about
Mm.
not doing the other thing. You know.
I feel guilty the other way around. When I rest, I feel guilty like, "Oh, I can do so much more with this time."
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
Yeah, that's what I'm
yeah,
saying.
I
We
can't
always
just
feel
sit
guilty.
around.
We always
I
feel
can't just
guilty
sit
about
around and just
not
rest.
doing the thing. Like No, just feel okay with doing the thing. Like if you're just sleeping, just feel good about sleeping. If you're running, don't feel guilty about not
If you sleep,
sitting.
sleep hard.
Yeah, that's it. Do the thing now. Do the thing you're doing now well, and then you can do the thing that you want to do later well too. But don't feel guilty about not doing the thing. Like that's guilt is the guilt. We are born into sin. You know, once you in South Africa, if you're born number one, for my Caucasian, I'm guilty already. I'm born guilty. The other thing is also I'm born into sin because that's what Christianity tells you. So I from when I was 7, when I start to realize things, I was already like, oh my god, I'm such a guilty person. I'm so guilty. I'm so wrong. I'm wrong.
Ugh.
I'm wrong. I'm guilty. And so that's you
I
carry.
am
You carry.
wrong.
I'm wrong. I'm wrong. I was created, then put on this planet, and I'm wrong. Now I've got to write this. I've got to write this in some way. I've got to make myself right in some way. I've got to make myself whole. No, dude, you're
You
already
turn this all
perfect. You're
around.
fine. There's no such thing. You just be, just be. You know.
That's very powerful because you know the older I get, I'm feeling all of these feelings that you're saying right now. I mean, I was in corporate and did grind it as hard as I could, and I've made a lot of decisions in my life where I felt really guilty for making those decisions. Like, shit, dude, you fucking up your life. You are not making the right decisions. But everything is a choice. It's like you said earlier, that why.
Hmm.
Why did I do this? Okay, cool. Now I've got a choice. Now I've got a new why.
Yeah.
For looking at that why did I do this? Okay, cool. Now I can choose,
Hmm.
why do I want to change it, or why do I want to stay the same? Do I
Yep.
want to change it, or do I want to stay here?
Yep.
Okay, cool. And so you're running through this maze,
Yep.
and every single choice you make has got a different, like, remember those books where you've got 25 alternative endings,
Yep.
and I think this is where a lot of my anxiety comes from. Is I'm thinking, oh wow, what if I make this choice? What if I make this choice? Just do it.
Yep.
Just there's no right or wrong. Just
Mm.
whatever you're
Yep.
feeling, just
Mm.
trust your gut. Just do
Yep.
it, because like you're saying, we've got a small window of being alive. We don't know what happens when we die. No one
Mm.
does.
Yeah.
So cherish what you have.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's so true, man. And it's important to not make these decisions, like you're saying. The book, you get to a decision point, and you're like, the why, find the why, but the why usually and often is what will others think.
Yeah,
So how will my wife feel? What will my friends think? How will my kids react? What will my peers say? So it's a thing like, I'm going to choose a car, right? I'm going to choose this big, I don't know what the biggest Bucky is in South Africa right now, but I'm going to get the biggest Bucky because everyone's going to go, wow, look at that guy with this big Bucky.
yeah,
You don't make that decision uh, based on what you need and how you're going to feel. Like, I bought a little Volvo C30 because I've only
mm,
got one eye. So my one eye is blind, and that car's dimensions are great. I can see exactly where the front is. I can see exactly where the back is. I
and they're
know how to
so
park.
safe.
I'm safe, and it's a safe car. It's a Volvo. So whoever gives me crap about it, I'm just going, well, I love it. I love it. And it's important to not make decisions. But Bucky is a stupid example, but there's everything like that. What shoes you wear, what what hat you buy,
Yeah,
what you do for the day, how do you talk to people, especially how you talk to people. Us South Africans are very stoic, but we're also bombastic. So you have someone come up to me, and they'll be like, hey, yeah, look at this, look at that, and hierdie vloekwoord, daai vloekwoord, and la la, and then I deflate it by just being kind and talking about
yeah,
softer subjects, and asking them about their day and saying, yeah, man, that's pretty cool, like, and then immediately that bigness, because I'm worried about what you think, goes away, uh,
mm,
in a subtle way. And I'm fine with masculinity. I'm fine with being strong and being bigger than life, but you have to be careful with the way you make decisions.
Yeah.
because at some stage you're going to have to make decisions for yourself, and that the
I was just
why
gonna say
needs to be
that
you.
that way you speak also needs to reflect inwards how you
Yeah,
talk to yourself.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, you got to be kind
So,
to yourself. You got to be honest, man. And honesty is so hard for men.
especially
it's
for yourself.
it's so hard for men. Like, we believe who we are and nobody's going to change it. And then at some stage you go, well, your midlife, you hit your midlife.
Yeah.
And you go,
Your your
oh,
second puberty.
you're like, oh, wait a minute. I'm past the midway point. Mortality is just around the corner.
Ooh la
Who
la.
am I really? And who do I really care what others think? Do I really care
Yeah.
what society tells me? I'm like, nope, I don't. And then you become softer, and you all harder. Like, I became way softer, way softer. I became
Yeah.
way more placid, and just less abrasive and less go-getty. Like, I was always like, yes, let's go, rah, to the
Yeah.
battlefields. Now I'm like, which
Yes.
battlefield, and will there be snacks?
Why do I want to be there?
Will there be snacks, and will there be an umbrella? Uh, you know,
Yeah.
because that's
I'll
what I
pack the
love.
sunscreen in the cooler. There we go.
Yeah, yeah. So, but yeah. Anyway, I
So
mean, it's you get sidetracked, but it's the why is the most important thing. If you find your why, and
exactly.
that us men, we find the why in others. The why is the family, and the why is is the loved ones, and the friends, and the career, and the God, and the whatever. And you got to be kind to yourself too, and go, well, I don't really like drinking myself into a coma. Like, it
Yeah,
doesn't do it for
why did
me.
I think this was cool in the first place?
Yeah, why
You
do I
know?
want to have a hangover for 4 days? Like, man, and for me, um, a big thing was realizing I love sport more than I do music. You know,
What? Wow.
I'm much better at music. I'm better than most people I know with music, and I
Yeah.
suck at sport. But I try my hardest because I love sport.
Yeah.
And realizing that if I want to give myself some energy back, I've got to go and run. I bought myself a little sailboat. I bought myself a paddleboard and a kayak.
Nice.
And these are the things. These are the only things I need, because that gives me the sporty thing. I can go rowing. I get tired. I can sweat it up. I can do my thing.
You
Where
don't have to
music,
prove anything to anyone else.
no, it's just me
Just
having
you.
fun, enjoying myself. And then with music, it depletes me a bit. So in music, I need to then prove myself. That, like you say, in music,
Ooh.
I've got expectations. People want to know, people want to hear the next Denaro song, the next thing Hanu brings out. So there's a bit of expectation there,
Yes.
and of course, then I measure my success to with the feedback and with the
Yeah. What the
response.
fans and the peers and everybody
Yeah,
thinks.
yeah. So then there's a bit of anxiety around that, and there's a depression if you didn't do it good enough. So it depletes me a bit. So I've got to get myself fill the tank first before I get into music. Yeah, definitely. And I realized it was sport. For me, it was sport.
So I've got a question for you, a very serious one. We're slowly but surely gonna wrap up this podcast right now because
Sure,
I
man.
feel like we can talk forever.
We can always do it again later.
Exactly. But I've got a very serious question. How did you guys manage to take uh, a song by Snow and made it into what it is now?
I'm gonna ask. I'm gonna assume you're a fan of that song, and then
Well,
I'm gonna say, how did you do it? Because we did nothing. I was in the jam room, and we did this riff because we wanted to do we were playing the Tux New Year's show at like 2003 in
yeah,
some airport hangar or something, and we had a warm up. We had to do we knew we were on over midnight, and we were going to be like one of the last bands, and we needed to do a quick sound check before we start playing. And so, of course, with festivals, you start with a song that you start with something like the drums first, and then you come in with the bass, and then you come in with the guitars, and then you do the vocals halfway through the song, because then at least the sound engineer had some time to get everything, all the channels right. And
yeah.
so we made up the song. Emil's like, okay, cool, play this riff. That's the bandit. That's the that Lolly Lolly goes da 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 da, just like this cool little riff. and then the drums would come in, and then the bass would come in, and then I would just fiddle around with just singing floaty stuff over it, and then halfway through I would come in with like Rings of Fire or something like that, and,
Yeah.
and then halfway through the jam I just started singing lonely, lonely, lonely Monday morning, and for my dead
Yeah.
body up to see. And Emil's like, yeah, all right now. Gaga, the whole band just kicked in. And we're like, oh,
No way.
we can't do that. We can't do that. We got to change the words at least and a little bit
At
of the melody.
least. Yeah. And at
So
least give it lyrics.
I swear, I think we did the actual Snow lyrics for the first year because that song wasn't recorded, so nobody
Yeah.
knew. It was just like do the Thundercats theme over the gig. It was just doing a little snippet, and we recorded it, and then all of a sudden it blew up. So it wasn't my fault. Like it wasn't on purpose. It wasn't supposed to be like a song. So
Yeah. I was thinking about it the other day, like,
mm,
well, that's not even my favorite The Narrow song, to be honest,
mm.
I actually resonated with the Self-Conscious album a lot more than the Travelers
Yeah.
because of my incident.
Yeah.
but,
Yeah.
but I was someone came up to me once. I think it was you guys were playing, yeah, the New Year's in Hatfield Square, a World War III.
Mm.
I think it was 2013.
7.
2007. Yeah,
Yep.
World War III or something like that.
Mm.
And someone came up to me and was like, that's a cover, right? And it
Mm.
completely changed my whole entire perspective over the song. When we
It
listened
just
to Snow, we're like, how did this
Yeah,
happen?
yeah. No, it was an accident, a complete accident. I can't help it. Blew up, and even now I have to explain the whole thing. But no, you know what? If it wasn't Lonely, Lonely, Lonely Sunday Morning, if it wasn't that, it would have been something else, and I think it still would have been pretty big. That is a nice
Yeah.
hook, but that riff just kicks, man. It's just
Yeah,
a
it
simple
just
little
slaps you
go
in the
go go go
face
go 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 go.
immediately after
Gah!
that.
It's a really lovely. It's there. It's a banger.
I
But
think that's what I like about the band, especially Not My Dog as well. You guys
mm,
got this metal drops, but it's got like a grungy rock drop to it because you're
yeah,
expecting that drop like you do in metal with that breakdown, but it's just this
yeah.
crunchy rock and roll that hits you in the face, and I love that.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, it's not. It's that again is an accident because the metal drops only really became a thing in the late 2010s. Where they actually got it right, where they actually could do a big build up, like a dance song build up, and then go down half beat and half tone, even sometimes just bring the breakdown. But
Yeah,
we wrote Self Conscious in 2000 and what 2002. uh,
yeah,
there was no such thing. There was no metal drops back
yeah,
then. The best thing then was Slayer and
yeah,
Metallica and some of the other heavier bands back then. But there was no drop. And then Emil and I started bringing in some of the music elements because we love our drum and bass and that sort of stuff. So there are drops in there. So we started bringing things in where we have a
yeah,
really, really soft verse that builds up and then drops into a heavy chorus. And this was the best we could do with the knowledge we had about what works. And by the time we're still playing 20-year-old music where there's a pseudo drop, but it's more like a dance music build
yes.
with a nice heavy grind,
It's a euphoric
grunge.
drop.
Yeah. But the metal kids now, man, they know how to drop. Like I wish sometimes
Yeah.
we could have learned it back then. It was just,
You
man.
bring that stank face in after that job. Like, yeah,
Oh, I
that was
love it.
disgusting. Same.
Yeah, so it's not on
Yuck.
purpose again, but it's definitely the best we could do back then. I think if we write stuff, no, but nowadays we write it differently. We write songs for longevity more than anything else. I don't want to be just a flash in the pan. I want to write a song. I write a song that can be done on an acoustic guitar 10 years from now. That's a
Yeah.
good song for me. Not a song that just works as a drop.
But 16 Stitch also was very, very prominent in this. I also felt like they were way too ahead of their time.
They were. The only thing about them is they loved going, what's it, the 3/4 thing. Ga, 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 ga. It was that,
Yeah.
and everything sounded the same for me. But they had a few good little drops there. That they worked. They knew how to get the.
Especially in their Depeche Mode cover, "Policy of Truth." That one slapped me in the face
Yeah,
a
it's a good
couple of times.
song.
Like,
Yeah, they did good.
yuck!
You know,
That
Depeche Mode didn't like that album. They rejected it when Lee and them from what was the record label back then? Anyway, Lee and them from that record label sent it to Depeche Mode. They were like, "Nah, they don't like it."
what?
Yeah, they didn't like it. I agree.
Inter-
Some of those songs were horrible.
Especially Depeche Mode is probably one of my like favorite like elusive bands. You
Yes.
know, I
Yeah.
read I saw an article once the other day, and the article header just said, "Band sells out stadium in 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Never had a number one hit."
Yep. Depeche Mode. Yeah.
And then when I read it, and I was like, "What? It's Depeche Mode.
Yep.
They
Yep.
never had a number one hit."
No. Yeah, and that makes me feel great because I've also not had a number one hit. So
But I think their thing was timing. I mean, I think
yeah.
that every single time they released like their bangers,
Mm.
Michael Jackson brought out Thriller, and then this band came out with this. So their
Yeah.
timing was just a little bit off.
Yeah, but also you're talking about dissonant music. Their stuff is emotive and it doesn't have the catchy upbeat stuff that Michael Jackson had and the cats from
Yeah,
those
exactly.
days. I mean, they were not competing, but they were definitely playing in this with that their stuff's dark. I mean, we're talking goth vibe
Yeah,
music, and
pseudo goth
and they were
music.
and they were punching with the Michael Jacksons and who was back then Queen and them were up there.
Mm.
The 80s, massive commercial poppy bands, and they were actually still in there. So I don't, I
I don't know
don't,
if I
I don't
could.
doubt they'll have that. They wouldn't even today. They wouldn't have it number one hit. There's no way.
No, but we all know who they are, and that's enough.
Yeah, yeah.
If I could ask you right now, I'm coming to the point of my podcast where if you could share anything with absolutely anyone in the world right now, what would it be?
I don't know. I'm probably gonna now walk away and think of a million things I could have said.
No, just shoot it from the hip.
I say, because to tie in with what we've spoken about this podcast, just with men's health and stuff, it's just be kind to yourself. Just be kind to yourself. You're doing okay. There's no wrong. You're doing okay. Just be kind to yourself. Whatever is going on today won't be the same tomorrow. So, this too shall pass. If you're going through a dark time, it'll pass. If you're going through a fantastic time, it it's not going to
It'll
last,
also
but
pass.
keep it going. Yeah, keep it going, and remember what you did to get it, because you could do it
Exactly.
again.
Just make notes.
Make notes, buddy, because you can do it again and we forget. So yeah, no, just be kind to yourself, man. Forgive, and be thankful. That's it.
Honey, I would just like to thank you for the momentous honor to have you on my podcast today and spare your time for an hour just to come and chat to me. Thank you so, so much.
Oh, thanks, Carl. Thanks for giving me a little platform, eh? Hey, let's do it again, and then we talk about something different. We can talk about songwriting, or fishing, or sailing,
Or aliens.
or don't get me started. Oof.
Yes.
Now we
Great.
can. Now we can.
Yes. All
Or
right.
I've got a little
Tune in next
hydroponic.
time,
I've
friends.
got a little hydroponic system. We can talk about hydroponics. We can talk about painting. I've got a whole painting studio. We can talk. Oh man, let's just book it in, buddy. Book it in.
All right. No, it's great to hear, and I would just like to say thank you very much, and I just want you to be happy and be inspired.
Thanks, Kyle.